عليكم، معاكم جو جي دي 13 من هروج المصارعة، واخيرا جبنا لكم الفيديو اللي كلكم تنتظروه، مقابلة تريبل اتش الحصرية في اسبوع الجريتست رويال رامبل. اخذنا وقت طويل لان احتاجنا نترجم، احتاجنا نجيب موافقة، وهذا هو الفيديو موجود. ان شاء الله يعجبكم. بعدنا كل البعد عن موضوع السعودية، عن موضوع الجريتست رويال رامبل، وركزنا في المصارعة. انبسطوا ان شاء الله يعجبكم، نشوفكم بعد الفيديو.
اهلا وسهلا متابعينا الكرام في حلقة خاصة انترفيو with Triple H, the King of Kings, the Game, the CEO of WWE World Wrestling Entertainment. Today, first, it is without a doubt a pleasure and an honor to be here in front of you, sitting with the King of Kings, the Game, the most influential name in the entertainment and wrestling world. We are proud at HMWP to welcome the King of Kings. How's your first day, or second day actually, in Saudi Arabia so far?
It's been great. The reception here is amazing. You know, the people are so welcoming, and so excited for us to be here. You know, when you fly in and you land, as you're coming into the city, there are billboards and signs everywhere for the greatest Royal Rumble. It's awesome to see, and people are very excited for us to be here.
So to start off the interview, the first question would be, when you were given the position of executive vice president of talents, what were the main goals that you have set onwards?
The main goal for me was increasing the athlete population, and not only that, but the level of athlete that was coming into WWE, and getting out there on a more global basis. So in the past, a lot of our athlete representation either came mostly from the US, a little bit from Europe. My goal was to go out there, obviously much bigger, into the world, and I think that you see that here today with us being here in Saudi Arabia and holding a tryout, and for the first time kind of welcoming in 27 Saudi athletes here in a tryout, and kind of vetting through that and seeing where it goes. And this is just the first step. I think we're just scratching the surface of where we can go, and the amount of people that are interested in coming in and trying to be WWE superstars.
Now, after years as an acting role of executive vice president of talents, what were the toughest decisions that you took, and what were the barriers that you faced?
Toughest decisions. It's every day is a new challenge. But the great thing about WWE at the end of the day, we're really about putting smiles on people's faces all over the world. And we're going to do that here this week with the greatest Royal Rumble. We're going to put them on a lot of faces, 70,000 people in a stadium, and the world watching. It's about us taking our brand of entertainment all over the world, and showing people what we do, and letting them have a great time, and just kind of lose themselves in that fantasy environment for a few hours, and enjoy it. And it's families, it's moms, dads, kids, it's everyone. So it's a wonderful opportunity for us to go around the world and spread that.
With WWE airing weekly shows, Raw, SmackDown Live, and 205 Live, does NXT count as a brand or a sub-brand, or is it a developmental brand for the future of WWE?
There's a little bit of all those things. With the main roster brands of Raw and SmackDown, it's sort of the elite of the elite, and the biggest names in the industry, and legends, and all of that. NXT brings a different vibe. NXT is part developmental league, so you have talent that are just getting started. You have talent that have been doing this for a long time, but that haven't made it to that next level yet. You can be very successful, but not necessarily have made it on a global basis. When you get to the WWE, it's a global basis. But at the same time, for NXT, it's not just a developmental brand. It's a third brand. It globally tours, 200 live events a year, talent that are known the world over now, and really gets them ready to make the move to that next level of Raw and SmackDown. But it super serves also our most ardent fans, our most passionate fans of WWE that really love that in-ring content, really tend to gravitate towards NXT.
Are there any different characteristics or features that carries NXT differently from previous developmental plans, such as OVW and FCW?
Well, OVW and FCW sort of teaching people on a base level, and then allowing them to get an opportunity locally in the little area that they were in. The business has changed a lot since then. WWE has evolved into this global entity. The television requirements, the social media requirements, the media requirements to be able to do interviews, the professional that we're looking for is at a whole nother level. The Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, the opening of that allowed us to train talent at a completely different level. Not only as in-ring performers and as in-ring characters, but also as the human being. How they handle the media, how they deal with social media, and being a global star that needs to represent themselves, the WWE, the country that they're in or the country that they're from, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's really about creating the ultimate professional. The opportunity to then take that Performance Center, NXT, allowing them to become global household names before they ever make it to Raw or SmackDown, increases their odds of being successful dramatically. But it also allows them, as we continue to evolve the development system, the opportunity to recreate the Performance Center and NXT in local regions globally increases that dramatically. I would love to come here to Saudi Arabia. I would love to open a Performance Center here. I would love to get Middle Eastern talent from around the region, Saudi Arabia, everywhere else, to come in that have an interest in WWE and being a global ambassador for the region, for the Middle East, for Saudi Arabia, to give them that opportunity to train, to give them that opportunity to put themselves and their home country out on a global basis to represent. And I really think that that's probably the next step in that evolution.
So just to pick on the evolution, looking into the future, where do you want NXT, to what levels?
NXT continues to grow. It continues to be a brand that showcases younger talent at their best, and allows them to become something more. If you just looked at it as a progression level, going to NXT and becoming a champion, or going to NXT and just being successful, pretty much ensures you success at the next level of Raw, SmackDown. 80% of the people that you watch every single week on Raw and SmackDown came out of the Performance Center or NXT, or NXT. So that it just increases the chances of success so much, but at the same time becoming its own thing. The next level for that is just increasing its exposure globally, whether that be Europe, whether that be here in the Middle East, whether that be Australia, Japan, South America. I want to expand it globally as much as possible. They're seeing it now, but I would like to be able to locally expand those brands to where locally there would be, let's say, an NXT brand here in the Middle East that would, if you were successful here, would feed you to NXT, a larger brand, which would feed you Raw to SmackDown to being in WrestleMania.
When watching different shows on the WWE Network library, we noticed that one of the main focuses in developing superstars is the way they interact with the cameras. Is this a crucial part of their development?
Absolutely. The biggest thing that I probably look for, my team looks for in a talent is charisma. How you relate to the fans, how you relate to that camera, how that camera sees you. Charisma is the factor that separates everybody. And I think you can see that in movies. I think you can see that in sports. It's not always the best athlete that becomes the most popular athlete. Sometimes their personality and the way they interact with their fan base will make them more popular than, say, somebody that's necessarily better athletically than them. Same with movies. It's not always the best actor, the Oscar winner that becomes the most popular or the highest paid even. It's about character and charisma. That's at the end of the day what people gravitate towards. So it's something that we teach. We have acting coaches and media training that allows them to take what's inside of them as a human being and the character and turn that up so that the world can really see who they are, gravitate towards them, become invested in them, and then want to see their success or their failures.
Since NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2017 pay-per-view till NXT TakeOver New Orleans 2018 pay-per-view, NXT have been the spotlight of social media and the wrestling communities. What's the secret?
I think the secret is the same secret that WWE has. It's just WWE is much larger in scope. It's listening to your fan base. Vince McMahon, our chairman, CEO, my father-in-law, who I have to listen to a lot. He'll always say, if you put yourself in the seats, that you can't go wrong. I truly believe that. If you are just a fan, and the truth is, that's how I grew up. That's how I got where I am. I was a fan that wanted to be involved in the WWE and ended up here. My goal is to take what I loved and I enjoyed my whole life, and as a kid, what I think is the greatest form of entertainment, and expose it on a larger basis to the world. To do that, you just have to give them what they want at all times. You listen to that fan base. Now, in the case of WWE as a whole, you listen to the fan base and you give them what they want, but there's so many varied opinions that it's like music. You can be the most popular form of music in the world, with the most people loving it, be the most successful, somebody still hates it. You can never please everybody. So it becomes, the love is very strong, but there are people also that will say, well, it wasn't exactly what I wanted. I think with NXT, it's a much more focused thing. We're a particular genre of music that the people that listen to that genre of music love it, and they're very excited about it, but it's very focused. I'm excited that they're focused about it. My goal is to continue to give them more of what they want. NXT sort of gravitates more towards the hardcore, I don't want to say hardcore because sometimes people get the wrong impression of that, but the most passionate fans. They usually love WWE as a whole. They love sports entertainment, wrestling, WWE as a whole. But when you can give them more and more focused, they love it even more.
With the huge success carried by NXT over the last couple of years, does it worry you that an NXT superstar at some stage feels a more balanced environment for him rather than main roster?
Again, I think it's an evolutionary process. I think it's when you've done one particular thing and people have said that that's great and I love that, it takes a little bit to sometimes grow outside of that. Not that people aren't going to like that, not that they're going to enjoy that, but it takes a certain level of courage to step outside of what's comfortable for you. And I think it takes a little bit of time for the athletes to discover that on their own. I think the success rate, though, when you look at NXT and you look at the people that have come from there, some of them starting with prior experience, some of them starting with none. When you look at a Braun Strowman, zero, had never stepped through the ropes of a ring in his life when he walked into the doors of the Performance Center. Alexa Bliss, same thing. So you have people coming from absolute zero experience to people like a Kevin Owens or a Seth Rollins, or people that had prior experience in the wrestling ring prior to coming to us, but yet we polished and honed those skills and taught them how to be superstars as opposed to just wrestlers. So there's a large difference there. The ones that are successful are the ones that can make that adaptation.
What is your take on how the internet wrestling communities have argued that part-time contracted superstars have more spotlight on rather full-time contracted superstars?
It's a funny thing. To me, the argument, I either want to see somebody perform or I don't. Whether they worked yesterday, today, tomorrow, to me is irrelevant. And I believe that sometimes fans have a tendency, or people in general have a tendency to say, well, this person deserves. There is no deserve. People work hard. Sometimes the hardest working person, it's not the right thing for them. Sometimes it is the right thing for them. You want to reward that hard work, but at the end of the day, it comes down to what people want to see, what they're willing to see, what the attraction level is, and what's exciting to them to see. They will, on one hand, say, well, it's unfair that this person is in that spot because they don't work as often as this person does, but I really want to see them, so I'm going to go see them because they're more exciting. It's a double-edged sword. It all sounds good when you're typing it on a keyboard by yourself, but in the real world, it's all about the charisma to entice fans to want to see you.
So 4 years have passed with the women's evolution movement. How do you feel about it so far, and have you successfully achieved its goals?
Well, it's not a destination to me. Again, the women's evolution is, sometimes I feel like it gets caught up in the terminology. There became a point in time where people wanted to see WWE superstars perform, and they wanted to see them be women. And as they wanted to see that, we followed that that desire for them to see it. And like I said, put yourself in the seat. From the seats, people were looking to see the women as athletes step into the ring and perform as superstars, and they were very willing to see it and to want to watch it. At that same point in time, as I saw that happening, I was starting to recruit different women athletes at a much bigger level. We had never trained them in that manner before. Recruited athletes from all over that were amazing athletes that just happened to be women, trained them the same way everybody else was training, and lo and behold, they started to steal the show. And as they started to steal the show, people wanted to see them more and more. And I think that's where we are now, is it's not about giving them the main event because we decided that women should have a spotlight. They took the main event because they were the main attraction, because they were the thing when it was time that people wanted to see the most. And when people want to see it the most, you give it to them. I think that will continue. I think it will continue to grow. I think when you see women athletes coming in from all around the world, whether that be, from different sports endeavors, Casey Catanzaro from American Ninja Warrior, or Shadia Beseso from Jordan, or Kavita Devi from India, women athletes coming in their own right to come in to be WWE superstars, to represent themselves and their countries all around the globe. Boy, the future certainly looks bright for them. And as they begin to continue to be trained and flourish in the ring, I can't see any ceiling to it. It's just time, and I think it's time globally that just people are beginning to realize that the truth is women can do anything we can do. A lot of times better.
So have the cruiserweight division reached its vision plans when the CWC was planned?
With the cruiserweights, there was an opportunity. Again, I saw an opportunity for some of the lighter, smaller guys that have a different style and that can captivate fans with that style to showcase themselves. They weren't necessarily getting the opportunity to showcase themselves because they were in the ring with guys that were 50 pounds, sometimes 100 pounds heavier than they were, and it's a style conflict. The Cruiserweight Classic opened a door for many cruiserweights around the world to be seen as something special. We started a show 205 Live with that, and it took a bit of a stutter step that I think people weren't 100% sure what it was. I think in some ways we weren't 100% sure what it was. But it seems to have caught foothold now, and it seems to be back to showcasing those smaller, faster, high-flying, in some cases, athletes the way that I think it should. But I don't think has it reached its potential. Absolutely not. There's some amazing athletes there, and no different than any other sport. If you look at boxing, sometimes the lightweight matches are incredibly exciting. They might not have the heavy hitting power of the heavyweights, but they are incredibly exciting. That's really what this is just giving people incredibly exciting characters and exciting athleticism that they can't see anywhere else in the world but WWE.
Are there any plans for the WWE Network to have new library for British independent wrestling organizations such as ICW in progress?
So we have associations with a few independent promotions that are out there that I consider to be, I've said this in the media, there's a difference between being a promotion that just capitalizes on a talent that's out there and showcases them and moves on. There's nothing wrong with that. I tend to like the ones that do more. They tend to want to cultivate talent and showcase it to the world. They want to help them get better. They want to train them to move forward and to be something more than what they are at the moment. ICW, Progress, groups like that, Evolve in the U.S., they tend to do that. They're more invested in talent's long-term futures, and that is great. If the WWE Network can be home for any promotion like that is invested in that future, then that's a wonderful opportunity for everybody to continue to grow. And to me, the path then becomes, if you're an independent in those regions, that's a pathway to get to the WWE. If you go to Progress, ICW, Evolve, your next step after that's NXT. Your next step after that is Raw, SmackDown, WrestleMania. That is the path.
How would you describe your career beginnings in WWE compared to Seth Rollins and Pete Dunne's beginning with WWE?
Well, it's a different time. One of the things that I say to our talent all the time, and slightly different for Seth Rollins, but Pete Dunne, especially now, or anybody that's at the Performance Center now, including the NXT talent, is everybody that came before you didn't have the tools that you have. So the Performance Center sent a whole new template for what there is: 7 rings and specialized training, the best coaching in the world. You know, Shawn Michaels is there. You couldn't ask for more to be given to you, plus media training, everything else to help guide your career. And a constant source of resources and knowledge for your entire career, medical training and rehab and doctors on staff. So the level of attention that you get there is second to none. Prior to this generation that is right now, no one had that. So the success that they reached, I say all the time, if you want to go back through time, name any superstar that's ever been anything in this industry, they didn't have what you have to be able to succeed. So imagine what you can do with it.
So lastly, we have come to an end to this honorable and momentous interview. Yeah. No, that's fine. No, we go. Yeah, we got those recordings. So, thank you, Triple H, HMWP channel, and HMWP fans. Thank you for your time and cooperation for giving us such a valuable time. Any last words for the fans watching this before we head off to the Greatest Royal Rumble on Friday, 27th?
I'm just very excited to be here in Saudi Arabia. I think I want to thank the fans here and also the GSA here for bringing us here and for exposing WWE to this region, because I think it's there's a lot of people here that are very excited that we're here to be able to showcase what we do, not only to here but everywhere else around the world on the WWE Network and have it grow. I think it's an amazing opportunity. So thank you very much.
تمام، ان شاء الله يكون يعجبكم الفيديو والمقابلة. كانت جدا جميلة، ايام جدا جميلة، واسبوع جدا حلو كان. ان شاء الله تكون عجبتكم المقابلة. في اشياء كثيرة ودكم كلكم انتم تعرفوها الان عرفتوها، وان شاء الله نكون ما قصرنا معاكم في شيء، نجيب لكم اشياء اكثر واكثر في الفترات الجاية. يعطيكم الف عافية، وكذا نقول لكم الى اللقاء.